what's going on, everybody? It's Matt10. So I wanted to make a quick video here. This, of course, is not PES 2018, but it's PES 3, and I think PES 18 can live to learn a lot from PES 3. If you guys don't know, Pro Evolution Soccer 3 is probably one of the best in the series. It was the first one for the PC that came out in the Pro Evolution series. It was huge. I remember just celebrating and playing it as much as possible back in the day. But this purpose here is having some great conversations with the guys at EvoWeb. And I jumped into a quick 10-minute match, kind of similar of what the PES 18 demo is doing. Teams are, of course, completely different in the sense of personnel and of course, the players on there, but I use the same teams as the demo. Here's Liverpool, the computer, against myself here using Atletico Madrid. And what I'm doing here is basically just moving the ball around, and I'll switch to different screenshots here as I go along. But just want to show what it looks like in the sense of cutting off passing lanes. That's really kind of the solution that I can see to make it harder for you to play against the AI, because I already see a lot of comments about how it's easy to play against the AI in the E3 build. You know, there's a lot of variety in the sense of you know, some positioning, but a lot of it is pretty much the same no matter which team you're facing. You'll never see this in PES 18 unless they're all the way down on their attack defense levels. If you can see here, it doesn't really even matter that much. It's just decent positioning. I'm not saying it's absolutely 1000% perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect when you compress a 90-minute match into 5 or 10 minutes or even 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So I'm not saying I want absolute perfect positioning. No way, because that would alienate all the guys that want to play 5-minute matches and just enjoy themselves. You know, in PES 3 and all the older PES versions, you could easily enjoy yourself because it was just so simple. But it's the little things that you didn't see of why it was so simple and why it was so enjoyable. Well, that's kind of like, it seems like that's kind of like my forte here is out of sight, out of mind. So basically the things you would never really look at originally. But in fact, some of those things, you know how the term is, the devil is in the details. Well, this is just a great example of that. So here I'm controlling Musampa. I've only got a couple of options. I can't really pass to too many players here. I have to pass backwards, so I can pass to the center back here. But let's say I'm trying to go forward. Well, look at the positioning here. You know, I'm going to work on names because I can't recognize some of them. But here's Finnan, as we know. And then another center midfielder here. El Hadji Diouf, of all people, here, also a midfielder. And Steven Gerrard here, back when he was wearing number 17. So look at just the way they're cutting off the passing lanes. Even though they're returning back, they're still cutting off passing lanes. And my best part here is the forward, Emil Heskey at the time, how he's also dropped back. You can see the passing lanes are cut off essentially. They're not straight up right in front, you know, they're cut off at an angle. I can't make this pass without a high risk. You have to reset it. I have to pass it back to my outside back over here or pass it back to my center back. I'll use the radar here. A big thing I use here, guys, is the radar for pretty much everything. When I'm watching PES, the demo, when I'm watching it, any games I play, I have the radar on just so I can see it. Lately, I've been playing PES 3 without the radar on, just kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, making it a little bit more difficult for myself. But you see the way it's just heavily compressed here. We all know, we've all played older versions of PES, and we know it can go back and forth end to end, but there are moments as well that make those end to ends bearable because they don't happen as often. And the positioning is really key to that. And so look at this great positioning here in the sense of, you know, building some difficulty. I can hit a switch over here, risky pass, go over the top, another risky pass. Just more decision making that's required here. And so we look at the next option here. Again, I'm in control here. Paunovic, we've got a runner here. I can play this ball into space. This one, he's tracking back here. This is Michael Owen, who's the center forward. El Hadji Diouf again coming up over here on this side, and Steven Gerrard just cutting off the angle here. And we've got a show into the ball here. Then we've got a defender. This is Risa, who's a little bit out of position, but that's okay. I think it was off of a counter-attack. So just, again, good little compression in the midfield, right? It's just those kind of little things here. Let's move on. We're here building just from the back and using, let's see here. So again, left back here. The positioning is really good here. Milhesky, Michael Owen, El Hadji Diouf, terrible circle there. And then the center mid right here. So I have options here to pass. But if these are cut off, then I've got to be creative, right? I can't just play from the back. This is proper pressure. I have to force the ball down the sideline over the top, or I do a big switch, try a Hollywood ball over there, or I have to reset it. But the way you play is a reaction of how the defense is built. So a lot of focus on modern day games is all about the offense, right? I saw there was a tweet recently on Konami talking about how they're going to try to improve the AI difficulty from the E3 build. That's great. I have a feeling they'll just improve the offensive side. Please look at the defensive side. That's going to help the offensive side and vice versa. It's just little things like this that can be done. Just cut off the passing lanes, and it won't make it so sim that it's going to be frustrating. Oh, it's going to just enhance the amazing on-the-ball animations, physics, everything that Konami have done for PES 18 from what I can see, because I haven't played it, but for what I can see would be absolutely amazing, guys. Can you imagine how many fouls we would get? Can you imagine how many types of chances, how much variety would be needed? This is why this game didn't need preset tactics, didn't need advanced instructions, because everything was a reaction based on the defense. And that's what you learn as when you're learning to coach, or you're just learning as a fan. Teams play the way they do because of the reaction of what they're facing up defensively, right? Just like the same way you approach your offense, or you approach your defense, the way the offense is built upon. Most of the time you're working on defense because that's the hardest to get everything in sync. Passing the ball, letting the ball move, etc. There are a lot of fundamentals there. And that can be modified, etc. But these are the little things that really make a big difference. Again, it's out of sight, out of mind. These are things you guys don't. I'm not saying everybody doesn't think about this, but these are things that I see that Konami PES had done it correctly at what point in time. At one point in time, it was done correctly. In the older versions, that's why so many guys have these rose-tinted glasses on, of nostalgia. But this is why, because it's these little things that made all the difference in the world. Let's take another example here at the top this time, and see here's Gerard, kind of out of position. You'll see that a lot, and this is a terrible circle, but you'll see that a lot in the older games. The players really did get out of position. Your center backs will kind of follow the forward all the way up to the midfield line. They'll even get past the midfield line. But let's look at the options I have here as Novo. Novo's really got backwards, and that's pretty much it, unless he wants to send a ball over the top right here. But he can't. I mean, he's being pressured like crazy. And here you can see in just the radar, look at the positioning again. See, cutting off the angle. This guy right here. And then right here, cutting off the angle, kind of circle him here, but more so in the radar. See this grouping right here? And it's more so, it's not really man-to-man. It's not man defense. It's essentially a kind of a manufactured zone, if you will, where it's still focusing on the ball, but also focusing on the man. And then it just compresses, and it allows the game to decompress because of all the, space that's being covered, right? So now runs have to be made. So now contextual runs made sense. If this forward, or if this player needed to run forward, now he had to. If he needed to run sideways, now he had to. They don't just run and then the defense decides to run alongside with them. They run to get open. They run because they have to, because their teammate's about to get dispossessed by Steven Gerrard, number 17. Here's another example of just good positioning again. Now here, I take credit for that. I made a good position, good track back here. And you see how Finnan here doesn't really have too much to pass to. Look at my defensive line here. See, they're all just ready in case Emil Heskey gets the ball. Here, he made the pass somehow. Look, my center back's already moving. got Michael Owens run just in case. Got him on the backside here as well. And I've got my other my left back here as well. So there's good positioning all around here to, first I've got him on this way if he needs to turn. I've got this angle cut off here. I've got backup over here if I need. He can make that pass if he tries to, but his back's already facing the goal, so he's not really a threat right now, especially it's Emil Heskey. He can pretty much hold off. I don't think that's Ibagaza that I have selected, but he can hold him off if he wants to, but then that'll allow me to come back and make up for it. So positioning again, even though he's got his back turned, we see that a lot this day and age, but here I'm controlling Simeone, and then here is dropping back with them. So here I've got positions, again, cutting off the angles, angle cut off, angle cut off. I'm not controlling these guys. These are just guys that are just part of the plan. They're just there because their awareness and then their proximity to where the ball is relative to the passing lane. I'm going to show this example here for PES 18 and in the E3 build and showing off on the World Tour. So look at how the passive defense is instead compared to what we saw before. Yes, different formations, different tactics, etc. I get it. But look at the overall attitude of the players. Look how much space is right there. There is a complete line right here. Look at all this unoccupied space. These guys can basically have a kickabout with each other and no problem with anybody else. And if we look at it, it's very simple. He can make the run over here and get open. Let me show you what that looks like here. And he can just play him out. See? Iniesta, no problem. Takes his time. Easy pass. Another out to the wing. Easy pass. And we stop it right there as well. We can draw it again. Who's getting who? How many open players can we find? These players can easily get open for him. I think he can just move here. He's really not doing anything back here. He's standing his ground. He's being ready. We look at the radar as well. Look how you'll see right here the space is going to open up significantly. And see how it opened up? If you guys paid attention, you see how it just completely opens up right there. So now we've got even more space over here. We look at relative to the radar, it's right here. Just more space that's being taken up. This isn't actually a terrible position either, in the sense of, the forwards, I'm fine with them not dropping back as much, but all the space that's being taken over, that's why it's defensive third to defensive third in PES 18. That's why it's just not as compressed. It's constantly decompressed. It's just, when I say decompress and compress, it just means that it's constantly spread out, right? And then shortly after that, let's say this ball comes in right here, and see they're trying to clear it, but look at right here. Look at all this space that Busquets has. He can just play it to anybody. I'm going to let it play through here just a little bit more. Look at how Messi is just wide open. And we've got this guy still dropping back. This is the guy who has to make up the space. Here's staying. This is okay. This is a little bit better. Top of the box is fine. Again, I'm okay with some of this, but the attitude overall, because now you see it play out here. Now Messi, look, he just stops. He's waiting for the space to be covered or not really covered. He's basically, the player one here is just waiting for the overlap that's going to happen, and nobody's going to track it. And he's got it right there all day. He can pass it back. He can just cross it in. No problem. That's, and there's a shot on goal. And here they're going to try to play it out. And it's actually nice to see the computer, make a bad, pass, even though they should be clearing that ball all day. But here again, space again. And just another example. You see the biggest difference between the two. Positions, right? No angles being cut off. Nothing doing. He's kind of the pass is completed symbol there's kind of in the way. But look at how easy pass. He can go and pass. He can make a big switch and make a pass. You do a big long switch over the top here and make make the pass. There's just so much space compared to what I showed there in PES 3. There's no pressure to perform as a result, guys. And again, this is not a criticism of PES 18. It's just more so to show how much of a difference the older versions were in the sense of positioning relative to where the ball is and relative to where the passing lanes can be cut off. And this is just one of those examples. This is good. Let's play it from here. Okay. So here he's got some options here, and this is where it looks actually okay, because now you can see what I'm talking about. Here's a good close down right here. He's going to run and try to mark the wide. Here he's going to attack the ball. He's ready to close down right here. He's ready to close down as well, right? And another at the top, even though there's really nothing that he's doing over here. Wide over here if they want to make this pass. We'll let this play through, and this is good pressure, right? And look off the ball. Good pressure again. See, so this is kind of where it's done right, but look how there's 30-yard passes. They're not 30 yards, probably 10, 15-yard passes, but these are the lanes. But they're not covered. Nobody's in front of the player, right? There's not that kind of zonal look that you saw before in the PES 3 videos. And we let it play out a little bit more. This is actually good. They have possession. So here, now they're in somewhat of possession, in a good position. Like I said, there's chances where it does happen. But again, now we've got openings here. We've got openings. You can pass it to him, unless he cuts it off. I believe he's going to follow Messi and run with him, as he does. And he actually takes a decent angle. So again, this is all right. I know they're going to play wide 3 forward up top. That's naturally how it'll be played. We let it come out, and it cuts back in, sends it up. Good clearance, good spot there. I like that position. And here's kind of what I showed earlier. So here, I like this. Again, this is good. This is good pressure. And we're gonna draw a couple circles here. So here, good pressure right here. This is cutting off a couple of angles. Here's another good spot right here. Another spot here is helpful. Here, not bad. Here, kind of watching Suarez's run. So this is nice. This can be done more often. Instead of now forcing the reaction for the offense now to just send long balls all the way down. You still have got Messi though down here at the bottom. Pretty easy pass if you want to make it. I believe he decides to make this pass instead. So if we let it play out, yeah, see, now he plays it right there. And so, see, that's a really forced pass, even though he had Messi down at the bottom open all day. So, but it's more so about the positioning off the ball and cutting off those angles, those little bits and pieces. And Konami can definitely do it. As you see, they've done it in PES 3, and they've done it in older versions, newer versions after PES 3, of course. But this is kind of what I really want to drive home, is that you cut off these passing angles and still make it where the game is enjoyable. Don't worry, it's not going to just affect the sim heads and those who are just want to just pick up and play. It's not going to affect that, because we saw in the older versions of how much fun that was, and it wasn't even as sim as people make it out to be. You've got so many on the ball just awesomeness coming up in PES 18. I haven't even played it, but it looks amazing. But these are the little things that could make a huge difference, and kind of what I've been preaching all along. Again, it's not a criticism of the game at all. It's more so of kind of what people are saying that are significant improvements that should be made in relation to the difficulty of the AI. Part of that is off the ball positioning and cutting off those angles, etc. So let's end on this one here. So this is one of my favorite looks, because in PES 17, I tweeted about this last month or so. I hated the fact that PES 17 I could just send a ball down the flank so easily. Well, look, El Hadji with the right midfielders coming back, cutting off the angle. Here I love this because Finnan, look where Finnan's at relative to what I can do. Send this down the flank. I've got Torres here running off the ball, trying to send this to him, but look how he's just so perfectly in position there. And here, this center back right here that's on Torres, if I pass this ball right here, he can step up, slide here, he can slide here, or the center back can move up, and then right behind them as well there's even more support, and essentially the further support is right there. No switch either, not able to be done. But this is just an example that I wanted to show, guys. A little bit boring, I know. Not really in motion, and I'm not trying to look like a tactical guru or anything. This is nothing to do with tactics. Again, I have nothing to do with tactics. It's just fundamentals of just see the ball, get the ball, cut off the passing lanes. Make that be the option, though. So make sure to leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. If you guys haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Check out the PES 3 streams. I'm doing them every night, midnight, 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks as always. Take care and stay tuned.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 players that are completely out. They're completely out of position. They can contribute nothing to this encounter, right? As a coach, as a player, you would be kicking these guys all in the you know what.